All right, so we're going deep today
Oh.
into the Manorama Yearbook 2025.
Oh, yeah.
This thing. It's amazing how much it covers about last year.
It really is, like, everything.
I mean, from politics and stuff
Yeah.
to like scientific discoveries.
Yeah, it's basically
That's-
like a cheat sheet for understanding the world.
Right. Like if you only read one thing, you got to read this.
Yeah. I think it's more than just facts, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like it actually does a really good job of connecting the dots
Okay.
between things you wouldn't even think about. Like, for example, how like some new technology could actually like end up impacting the global economy.
Oh, totally. Yeah. It's
Yeah.
like it puts it all together.
Exactly.
Okay, well, let's jump into it.
Okay.
The global affairs section right away. That caught my attention. Did you see that?
Yeah.
About that diplomatic thing.
Oh, yeah.
A resolution
Yeah.
between those two nations. That have been like fighting forever.
No, I know what you're talking about.
Decades they've been at each other's throats.
Yeah.
And then suddenly, resolution.
Yeah.
Like who saw that coming?
Right. I was so surprised. I mean, it's interesting, though, to see how things can change so quickly. Like from like a tense standoff to people actually talking to each other.
Yeah, and I thought the yearbook did a really good job of explaining like how it happened, like all the stuff behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Like the maneuvering and the compromises and all of that.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And, it's interesting because if you think about history and look at it through the yearbook,
Mhm.
there are actually some interesting parallels to something that happened way back, like in the early 1900s.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like a really similar diplomatic resolution.
Huh.
Both situations had like that long-standing animosity.
Yeah.
And it took some serious creativity
Hmm.
to get people talking.
That's fascinating. It's like, I guess history does repeat itself in some ways.
I know, right?
But what I find really interesting is how this current thing has actually kickstarted all these other positive changes.
Like what?
Well, the yearbook talks about how trade has increased
Yeah.
between the two countries. And there's like renewed cultural exchanges.
Really?
Yeah, and they're even working together now on climate change stuff.
Wow, that's huge.
Yeah.
I mean, that makes you wonder, what if we could do that with other conflicts in the world?
Right.
Like, are there things we can learn from this and use them to help solve other problems?
That's a great question. And yeah, the yearbook definitely makes you think about that, like how powerful it can be to just communicate and try to find common ground, even when there's a lot of baggage from the past.
Right. Okay, let's switch gears a little.
Sure.
I was reading about that new wave energy technology
Oh, yeah.
in the science and technology section. It sounds amazing,
Yeah.
but you know me, I'm always a little skeptical
Oh, I know.
when people make these big claims.
I get it. But this one, it's pretty remarkable. I mean, they're talking about harnessing energy from ocean waves on a scale we've never seen before.
Right.
Like, it could totally change the energy game. Imagine coastal countries not needing to import energy anymore, maybe even becoming exporters.
Yeah. I mean, that would be amazing.
It would.
There has to be a downside.
Well, yeah. The yearbook does talk about that, too. Like, what's the environmental impact?
Exactly. Like, are these massive wave energy converters going to mess up the ocean?
Exactly. And, the yearbook, it presents both sides of the argument. Like, it highlights the benefits of clean energy, of course.
Yeah.
But it also says we need to think carefully about the environment, too.
So it's complicated.
Right. It's not just like good versus bad. There are trade-offs. And that's actually something I really like about the yearbook. It makes you think critically.
Yeah.
It doesn't give you easy answers. It makes you grapple with the nuance.
Okay, so I got to ask.
Yeah.
What about the economy?
Ooh, good question.
Anything interesting happening there?
Yeah, actually, there was something that really jumped out at me about Southeast Asia.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. They're becoming like a major economic powerhouse.
I've heard little things about that.
Yeah, it's been happening for a while now.
Oh, what's causing it?
Well, the yearbook talks about a bunch of factors, like certain industries are just booming there, like tech manufacturing and digital services. And then the governments there are really smart. They're attracting foreign investment and building infrastructure.
Oh, I see.
And on top of that, the middle class is growing like crazy in a lot of these countries. So there's just way more spending power now.
So it's not just some abstract trend.
No, not at all.
It's going to affect all of us.
Absolutely. Think about it. Global supply chains, the products you buy, even jobs could all be impacted.
Wow. And you know what? I bet this economic growth is even affecting sports.
Oh, you're so right. In fact, the yearbook tells this incredible story about a swimmer from Vietnam.
Oh, wow.
She's a Paralympic swimmer,
Really?
and she's amazing.
Wow.
So she lost her leg when she was really young,
Oh, God.
but it didn't stop her from swimming.
That's incredible.
It is. She's like a total inspiration.
I bet.
Yeah, she's a gold medalist now.
No.
Yeah, and like her story has become this huge source of pride for Vietnam.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
I mean, I can only imagine how hard it must have been for her,
Oh, yeah.
especially in a country where, like, sports maybe haven't always been, like, a top priority.
Right, exactly. But that's kind of the point the yearbook makes.
Yeah.
Like, with the economic growth they've had in Vietnam, it's allowed for more funding and support for athletes now.
That makes sense.
Yeah, so it's
Yeah.
like her success is this testament to like her own hard work and dedication,
Right.
but also like the changing opportunities in her country.
That's really powerful.
Mm.
You know, it reminds me of something else I read in the yearbook
What's that?
about the Stonewall riots,
Oh, yeah.
like the 50th anniversary.
Right.
It's amazing how the yearbook connects these different things.
I know. It's like they weave together all these seemingly random topics,
Yeah.
but then you realize there's this bigger theme.
Totally. Like, in this case, it's about overcoming adversity
Mm-hmm.
and pushing for inclusion.
Exactly, like whether it's in sports or in society.
It's like a reminder that the fight for equality, it happens everywhere.
Absolutely. And it's really cool how the yearbook shows these parallels, you know?
Yeah.
Between something that happened so long ago, like Stonewall,
Right.
and what's happening today.
Yeah, it's like history. It's
Yeah.
not just a bunch of facts.
Totally.
It's still shaping our world.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, before we move on,
Yeah.
I'm curious about something.
Okay.
There was a thing about a Nobel Prize winner
Oh, yeah.
for medicine.
Mm-hmm.
What was that all about?
Oh, this is a really cool one. So this scientist,
Yeah.
they made a groundbreaking discovery
Okay.
in neurodegenerative diseases.
Like Alzheimer's and stuff?
Yeah, exactly. So for years, researchers have been trying to figure out
Mm-hmm.
how this one particular disease works.
Okay.
It affects millions of people all over the world.
Wow.
And the scientists finally figured it out.
Really?
Yeah, they identified this key protein
Okay.
that's involved in the disease.
So that's huge, right?
It's massive. Like, it's completely changed how we understand the disease.
So what does that mean for treatment?
Well, the yearbook says this breakthrough is going to lead to new treatments
Oh, wow.
and therapies that actually work.
That's amazing.
It's a game changer for people suffering from this disease.
Yeah.
And it gives hope that maybe we can even prevent it someday.
It's incredible how one person can make such a difference.
I know, it's really inspiring.
It really is. And it shows you how important scientific research is.
Absolutely. Like, if we want to solve these big problems.
Yeah, we got to invest in research.
Totally.
This deep dive into the Manorama Yearbook,
Yeah.
it's been amazing so far.
I know, right?
We've covered so much like diplomacy and science,
Mhm.
inspiring stories and social movements.
And we're not done yet.
There's more.
The yearbook's got plenty more to offer.
All right, hit me. So what else is in this thing?
Okay, get this. There's a whole section on education.
Education.
Yeah. Like how it's changing,
Yeah.
all the new stuff. Well, it seems like the old way of doing things, like traditional schools and stuff,
Yeah.
is being challenged. Like, people are realizing we need to focus more on, like, personalized learning
Hmm.
and skills that people actually need, for the jobs of the future.
So like less memorizing facts and stuff.
Exactly. It's more about, like, critical thinking and problem solving.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And the yearbook talks about how technology is a big part of this.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
online learning platforms and virtual reality and even AI tutors.
AI tutors. Wow. So like, is this the end of classrooms?
Maybe, I don't know. It's hard to say, but it definitely makes you think about the future of education.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
It's kind of scary, but also exciting. Like a whole new world.
totally. And you know what else the yearbook talks about?
Oh, yeah.
It's not just about the technology. It's also about, like, encouraging creativity and adaptability.
Yeah.
Because those are the skills that are going to be really important in a world where things are always changing.
Okay, so basically, education needs to be about more than just filling kids' heads with information.
Right. It's about giving them the tools to learn and adapt on their own.
I like that.
Yeah, me too.
Well, this has been amazing, this deep dive.
I know, right? It's crazy how much we learn.
From just one book.
Right. The Manorama Yearbook, it's like a portal to everything that matters.
Totally. I feel so much more informed now.
Me too. And inspired. Like, there's so much cool stuff happening in the world.
Yeah. It makes you want to go out and explore.
Right. And learn more.
Exactly. So, to everyone listening,
Yeah.
think about this.
Okay.
We've seen how everything is connected. Like what happens in one place can affect the whole world.
It's true.
And how history is always shaping the present
Yeah.
and the future.
Yeah.
And how learning and understanding can lead to some pretty amazing things.
Absolutely.
So here's our challenge to you. What are you going to explore next?
What are you curious about?
What are you going to learn?
And what are you going to do with that knowledge?
It's a big world out there. Go explore it.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
Until next time, keep those brains working.